Recording?
I'm recording.
Should we do a quick recap?
You can recap. I
Yeah,
can't
that's what I
remember.
mean.
Yeah.
You can't remember anything at all.
No.
Can you go back to where it's quiet for a second?
Yeah, of course I can.
Okay. So we're a lady detective in the 20s. A bootlegger came to our flat where we had to convince a cat that there wasn't any food.
Yes.
There was a bootlegger came and said that they got a note under the door saying that, I can't remember what the note said. It was a threat. It was some kind of threat, and they wanted to hire the lady detective to see who sent it. So we went to the speakeasy and asked some questions of the barman, and a lady came in who was the wife of the bootlegger, thinking that we were having an affair with the bootlegger. And we said, look mate, like not my type, you know. And so she said, we told her that we were on the case, which I'm not sure might be a mistake, but we'll see. So now we're just trying to find out stuff.
Okay. Continue. Green's bootlegging case smelled foul, but so did everything else in this burg. I decided to take the case. I had to chase Green's letter, find more about his past, and look into his bootlegging. Well, Miss Malone, he smiled. Will there be anything else?
This guy he seems to be quite high up, but he also owns a barber's, which seems to be some kind of front.
Okay, yeah. Ask about notes?
We did already do all that.
Okay, so don't.
But yeah, it's up to you. I mean,
We
asked him everything.
Give us a chance to look through our notes, won't it? And
Yeah.
refresh my memory, at least. Green's bootlegging case. Okay, that's, I think. Stone Stable told me to visit Sam Shipman at my old North Beach station. I could try my luck there. We'll go back to the stable. Okay. Find the source of Green's letter. Discover Green's past. Investigate Green's bootlegging. Well, that's what we're doing, aren't we? Evidence? What evidence we got? We've got quite a lot of evidence here. Okay, it's... Nothing makes any sense to me at the moment.
Nothing makes any sense to you?
Not at the moment. I can't remember.
Right, so Connor Green's the bootlegger. He got a threatening letter.
Yeah, it says that here, look. He has a new bootlegging scheme and he suspects Redstone Stable.
Yeah. Redstone Stable might be the speakeasy that we're trying to get into that we need a password for.
Yeah.
Remember? And Mrs. Green is his opium addicted wife who was no help at all.
Okay. Redstone Stable. They knew our name. Claims he doesn't bootleg. Okay.
That's about it.
That's about it. Okay. So we've got to look for... Can you see a cross? Like an exit?
Yeah. Bottom corner. Far along. No other side.
Over here.
Left.
Back.
I did have to look at my hand.
Yeah. Ask about notes. Don't. Nothing now, I said, and turned back to the barber shop.
I think I forgot to take my tablet today.
Did you? I looked around Stable's elaborate shop.
We did that already as
Okay.
well. But feel free to remember.
The modern hydraulic bar. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Cushion.
The size of the mirror's frame. It was cylindrical. Blue, red, and white.
Sounds like a bottom.
Like, was it a bottom?
Soft brown cushions.
Oh, soft. Yeah. Okay, I think, if we looked at it all, there's no point in... So, well, I mean, okay, looking for a door then, aren't we? Is that a door? What's that? Cabinet?
On the left. Far left.
Yeah, there you go.
Leave. The front door had a bell on it. Top of it, leave.
I was debating where to go next. Ooh, police station. We haven't been there.
That wasn't there before.
No. Should we go to the police station?
Yeah, we need that password to get into.
We've got a password.
Have we?
Yeah.
Where? When?
In our notes. I
What
saw
does
a
it
password.
say, though?
Evidence password.
Oh, well that.
Like, we could try it.
Yeah.
Where?
That's what we couldn't do before.
And where was it?
Tin Spoon Lounge, I think. I hadn't given the correct. Yeah, read it.
I still needed to talk to Tiny Paul, but I hadn't given the correct password at the Tin Spoon entrance. I knew I'd never get in the place until I said the magic words. Go here. Or notes. You got notes down here. Look. Goals. Evidence.
Yeah, but that's
Password.
the password.
Oh,
That's not the
that's not
password.
okay. That's not. That's yeah.
That's what happened before.
Is it?
Mhm.
Okay. Statements. Okay, so where do you want to go then?
Well, let's try the police station, seeing as it wasn't there before.
Yeah, good idea. I always dreaded visiting the PD after I'd flown the coop, and I was in no mood right now. But if Shipman did know something about Green's note, I had to chase it up.
Where are you from?
I'm from Illinois.
You don't sound like you're from Illinois.
Well, I am. I grew up somewhere else first.
You sound like a very confused cowboy.
I am a very confused cowboy from Illinois. I stepped into the taxi. I stepped into the taxi and rocked into a comfortable position in the back seat. I thought about starting a chat with the driver.
We said we should always talk, didn't we?
We did. The youth driving the taxi cab was driving in shirt sleeves, his hat and jacket on the front bench beside him. Our conversation led into the local dance clubs. We talked about dances. I
Yeah,
returned
dances.
to idle banter. We talked about dances. Every gal right now wants the turkey trot, he said. But I don't know nobody who can keep it up all night. Give me the shimmy or black bottom any day. Why not a waltz?
Yeah.
Why not a waltz? I asked. He laughed. You flappers, always kidding a fella around. There's no chance in hell that you'll get a band play a waltz. Not at a swing club anyhow. I'm tired by the end of it. I barely got energy to walk home. Lucky that you don't need to walk. He smiled as we arrived. I thanked him for the trip and left the taxi cab. Okay, fruitless. The North Beach station was SFPD headquarters, also poetically baptised the Hall of Justice. The building dominated the corner of Kearny and Washington in Chinatown. Rebuilt after the 1906 earthquake, I thought it looked even more sour than it had before. I strode to the young bobbed girl behind the large oak desk. She must have been new, because we shared no recognition of one another. I asked for Shipman, and she motioned me to a chair as she pressed a pearl button. I sat down and she disappeared through a frosted door. I rolled another cigarette to pass the time. Between puffs, I thought about my history at the department, the future of the SFPD, the shape of my smoke plumes. Well, if it was you, you'd be thinking about the shape of your smoke plumes.
Well, yeah,
but
it
I
won't
think
be very helpful.
It won't. I
think the history.
That's
yeah.
what I think. Between puffs, I thought about my history at the department. I imagine the station captain would have been furious had he known I was there. I did, after all, break a tumbler with the help of another officer's temple. That had been my last day on the force.
Break a tumbler.
Smashed a glass over another officer's head?
Yeah, must have.
It wasn't long before Shipman walked out of the frosted door. Okay. Samuel Shipman smiled when he saw me. He was tall and tanned. He had always been helpful. Yeah? Samuel Shipman smiled when he saw me. He had always been helpful to me in my days on the force, working closely with Lewis. He had acquired the habit of bouncing theories my way. He judged officers purely on results, and because of that, he was one of my few fans. We exchanged brief pleasantries before he said, "Wouldn't come here for glad handing." He had a habit of removing the subject from his sentences. "What needs doing?" I explained my case to him. He scoffed when I mentioned Connor Green. Working for that pinhead? Got a good mind to run him up a flagpole.
Yeah, she.
Yeah, she. I just need to know about this letter. I handed him the note Green had given me and explained its context. After looking it over, Shipman tried to stifle a laugh. "Complete bunk," he said. "See, this symbol in the corner? Mark of the Black Hand Gang? Except Black Hand letters are always ransom letters. Not threats. No foothold on this coast, anyhow. Never been one in California." So it's a fake.
So it's not from the Black Hand Gang, it's from someone
Pretending to be the Black Hand Gang. So the letter's fake? Shipman nodded. Someone trying to imitate the Black Hand.
We know that, we're ahead of you.
Yeah. I grunted a sigh and noted what he'd said. "Don't know if Green is getting one over you," he said, "or if someone else is pulling Green's leg, but having more dirt on the man couldn't hurt, especially if he's your client." I agreed. "I've been trying to dig through his past. You got any bunk on him?" Shipman shook his head. "No, from Oakland is all I know, but I can do some more digging." I thanked him for that. Under a pile of vice, though. Might take me a while. Why don't I telephone when I find anything? I had no office where I could receive messages, but I dreaded returning to the station. I told him to call Southern Coffee. "Just leave anything with Franklin Conway," I instructed. He said that was all right. He traded goodbyes, and I went back to the station's entrance. Now I knew the letter was fake, and Shipman was looking into Green's past for me. I just needed to chase up the bootlegging lead. I stepped into the street and thought about where to go.
Toilet.
So
we... I don't know what we're going to do about this password.
No.
Could we maybe go back to the...
Tin Spoon Lounge?
Oh, no, that is where... go back to the... speakeasy and see if there's...
Is that Southern Coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, we can try, can't we?
We can't find it anywhere else. That's literally the only thing I can think of doing.
Shipman said he'd call Southern Coffee if he found any dirt on Green. I could go see if I had any messages. Of course, if I was stuck on the case, a stiff drink with Frankie could give him some hint as well. Go here. I hailed a driver, gave him the address and stepped through the back door. I debated talking with the driver. Talk again?
Yeah, always talk.
He began idle chatter, but the driver kept stifling laughter. When I asked him why, he apologised and said, "Just got out of a Felix the Cat showing. They're running all of them back to back at the Orpheum. Best time I've spent." He talked about the Felix the Cat collection, including his favourite, Felix in Hollywood. Can you believe they got Charlie Chaplin and Douglas Fairbanks in a cartoon? We came to my destination and he was still laughing. I stepped out of the taxicab with a smile on my face. Southern Coffee was an automat diner. Ethel Burgess, the lone waitress, was friendly to help with any inquiry. Of course, if you winked at her right, she'd show you the way to the downstairs toilet where Frankie played bathroom attendant.
You thought it was like
Rude, like,
rude thing,
yeah,
didn't you?
yeah.
No, Billy, it's a speakeasy.
Do you want a lollipop?
Okay, yeah. Thanks.
It's courtesy of someone at work.
They give you lollipop. They pay you in lollipops.
They pay me in lollipops, yeah. Yeah.
Is that why we haven't got a mortgage yet?
Yeah. I've got 200 lollipops. Southern Coffee had the distinct feeling of home. The familiar smell of mould in that old basement was enough to put a grin on my face.
We know, we've heard it.
Okay, so we talked to him?
Yeah, I mean, we did speak to him before, but I literally don't know what else to do.
No. Frankie was still behind the bar. I wondered if Shipman had left any messages for me. Of course, if I was stuck on the case, a long drink with him, something. I looked at Frankie. What's eating you, kid? He asked.
Just ask him about the password. Go to notes. Ask about notes.
Ask about notes.
Oh, dribbled.
And
Go evidence.
evidence.
Wherever it is.
Yeah, evidence.
Maybe, yeah.
Password.
Tin spoon password. So, yeah, show Frankie. Go back.
I will show Frankie. The tin spoon doorman kept me outside the joint. He wants a password, but I have no ideas. Fill full your cups, feel no distress, but all our great thoughts shrink in less, he says. Who knew gangsters were the riddling type? Frankie laughed. All our great thoughts shrink in less, he said. All our great... Is this a riddle? What? I was puzzled. He turned and grabbed a bottle from his shelf. Vintage stuff this. Strange they'd use it as their code. Ooh, he handed me the bottle and I read the back of the label. Fill full your cups, feel no distress, at all our great thoughts shrink in less. We'll do a good deed nevertheless.
That must be it. We'll do a good
That must be it, because it's
nevertheless.
all highlighted. Okay, so we've got the password.
Yay!
I thought about what else I'd like to speak with him about. Ask about Shipman's message?
Did we do
Yeah,
that?
no,
Yeah,
we
why
didn't do
not?
that.
Yeah, I can't remember what he said.
Any messages, Frankie? I asked him, and Any messages, Frankie? I asked him, and what do you mean by that? Well, I told Sam Shipman, an old contact on the force, to leave any dirt with you if you found it. Frankie laughed. So I'm your bartender and your secretary. Say, if I become your housemaid, will you at least pay me? So I'm guessing you haven't heard anything, I said. Nothing yet, Miss Chief. Frankie chuckled. Shipman's supposed to call you about Green. What have you got so far? No rule breaks to speak of, I said. Well, alright, I'll let you know if this Shipman gives me a call. I thanked him. What else you got, he asked. Do you want to ask about notes, or just never mind and go to the...
We have already done all that.
So never mind.
Right.
Never mind, I said, and swiveled my seat away from the bar. To the speakeasy.
Yay, we can get in.
Up the stairs, isn't it? Leave. I was debating
Tin Spoon
Lounge. Go here.
Yes. Money in the bag, please.
Got the money in the bag. Talk. As I went to talk to the driver, I noticed a periodical on the seat beside him. Read it. Yeah?
Yep.
One of the magazine's contributors took great offence to Coolidge's position on immigration. But before I contradict him, she wrote, let the President himself tell you his ideals as part of his annual message. She quoted Coolidge, America must be kept American. For this, I propose, it is necessary to continue a policy of restricted immigration, based either on a prior census or upon the record of naturalization. Either method would ensure the admission of those with the largest capacity and best intention of becoming citizens. This speech, she claimed, was a slap in the face to many recent immigrants.
Oh, how things change.
Yeah. For how many among them do not have the best intentions. His words only harden opinions of the xenophobes who quiver at the preposterous idea of Bolshevik revolution. Perhaps in a modern city such talk is brushed aside. Of course, the President only means to keep away the criminal ranks, but cast a glance to rural America and observe the change in tone, where foreign is anyone not white and Protestant. It is there that President Coolidge knows exactly his aim. Stoke the fires of division to gain the vote of the majority. Encourage a democracy of hate.
The Donald.
The Donald, yeah. The taxicab halted at my destination. I left the magazine on the seat and stepped out. Saying that though, the Donald, he's going to North Korea, so he's, it's pretty,
I just want to let you know that Will does this thing where it doesn't look like he's joking, but he is.
Yeah. I opened the cab door in front of a North Beach warehouse with a wooden sign. The sign's text was too worn for me to decipher any of its English, but a small grey spoon was still visible below the letters. Knock again.
Mm-hmm.
Keep knocking again and again. I again rapped my knuckles on the metal door. Rat-a-tat-tat. The panel slid open and the same dark eyes stared down at me. Fill full your cups, feel no distress, at all our great thoughts shrinking less. He repeated. He continued his stare, unwavering. Look in notes.
Mm-hmm. Evidence. Tin spoon password. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Tin spoon password.
Didn't we click on that before?
Yeah, but we didn't have it.
User's password.
There you go.
We'll do a good deed nevertheless. I recited the line that Frankie had shown me on one of his bottles. The eyes squinted. Wait here, came a gruff response. The panel slid shut, and I heard footsteps walking away. I rolled a cigarette and waited. After a quarter of an hour, the panel opened again. Bars closed, but you can shoot Paul in the upstairs room, said the eyes. He pulled the door ajar and I could see a set of metal stairs. Walk up. I walked up the stairs and opened the thin wooden door to the billiards room. It was much smaller than I'd expected for a gangster's paradise. The only light came from the hanging lamps above the billiards table. The haze of cigarette smoke darkened the room's corners.
And vapes.
The
A ridiculous, stupid vape. Show them the colour. Take your hand away. Put your hand. No, you're still covering it. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so we can look around now, can't we?
Yeah, ask him stuff. That man.
Should we look at other stuff first?
Okay.
And then do him last?
Okay.
couple tall chairs were placed around a billiards table.
The table.
The room was lit only by the dangling lamps above the billiards table.
Someone's doing a YouNow stream, probably.
The rack on the wall. What?
Well, someone's. I follow people on YouNow because they always have loads of drama.
Someone's doing a live stream.
Yeah, I once went between the live streams of two girls who were slagging each other off.
Okay, concentrate on this now.
Yeah.
The pool table was the focus of the space. The light reflecting from its smooth green surface tinted the den. Now the man. I see a tall, broad-shouldered man playing the table by himself. Based on Frankie's description, I gathered this was Tiny Paul. Ah, the irony. I cleared my throat to get him to look at me, then followed with a casual, "Are you ever going to take a shot?" He stood up straight, rested his cue on the table, and looked at me sideways. It was the petulant look of a boy forced to play with his younger sibling. "Hello," he sighed. His voice was deep. I asked him more about billiards. His voice was deep. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
His voice was deep. Apparently, Ferry only hired baritones, but it had no gravel. It echoed slightly around the small room. I imagine he could have huffed and puffed the entire block to rubble. "I like watching them," he said, nodding to the balls on the table, thinking through my options. I'd never shot much pool, but I thought he might like me more if I feigned interest. I considered lying to him, telling him that I played a lot. "No better sport," I lied. "I'll stick to cards." I didn't lie. I'll leave this one up to you.
Cards.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll stick to cards. I didn't lie to him just then. "Stud, blackjack or bridge?" he asked, hoarsely. I raised an eyebrow, and he showed a sheepish grin. "A gambler plays 'em all," he continued after cracking his knuckles. "But I don't think you're here for a game." I asked for a drink. I asked about green.
Let's just get right to the point.
Yeah, let's cut the crap.
Yeah.
I asked about green. "How's the gamble on that wine?" He grunted. "Green's setting it up. We're the muscle. What more is there?" Spilling the story to a stranger. "You like green?" Any preference?
Stranger.
Spilling the story to a stranger. "Mighty kind of you, Tiny Paul," I said. I expected surprise when I mentioned his name, but he just chuckled. You think I don't about you? You think I don't about you, Miss
No,
Malone?"
it's meant to be don't know.
Yeah. "I don't about you, Miss Malone? I'm not giving you anything you ain't already got." So he'd known me too. The doorman must have looked me up. The bay talks fast.
Googled it.
Yeah. He asked Jeeves. Anyhow, he said, eyeing the billiards table. "You need anything else from me? If you want something, better ask specific. Mobsters never failed to grate my nerves. He wouldn't tell me anything unless I pushed him with what I already knew. Ask about notes." So, should we read through this or not bother?
Yeah, we should ask him things.
Yeah, okay. We've got to discover Green's past, investigate Green's bootlegging. Okay. Evidence. We know
We should ask stuff about Green, I think.
Green, empty bottles, round table, tickets to
That's
St Louis.
Greenhouse.
Yeah.
Go back up to the bit about Green. Go back up. Up. Right.
Green's house.
No, where's the stuff about the letter and everything?
Statements?
Right, yeah. Letter. Ask about the letter.
Statements.
Maybe.
Okay, where's the letter?
At
the top. Connor Green got a threatening letter.
Do you think?
What does it look like? I thought.
Because that's what we're investigating.
I thought maybe tickets to San Louis at Green's house.
Okay.
Do you remember what happened
ask
there?
about that then, yeah.
But do you remember what happened at Green's house with the tickets to San Louis? St
No.
Louis. You don't know. See, I'm not sure if it's that or not. It could just be some tickets to St Louis.
We don't know. We just found them.
Should we try it?
Yeah.
There you go. It gives you a. It disturbed Mrs. Green when she mentioned them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Tiny Paul.
I considered telling Tiny Paul about Green's tickets to St Louis, but if these mobsters thought that Green was about to blow town, they'd be liable to dig him an early grave. I still needed to solve my case, and for that I needed my employer alive.
Yeah.
Maybe after it all cleared up I'd mention Green's tickets. I must have been lost in thought, because Tiny Paul said, "Can I get back to this already?"
Ask about no, and then ask about the letter.
Yeah. Yeah, threatening letter.
And the bootlegging scheme and that,
Yeah.
just general stuff.
Okay. I was trying. Yeah. Only thing about this note, I asked, and pulled out the letter with the black hand on it. Oh, here we go. Tiny Paul looked at the page, then laughed with his whole body. So there is a letter. Green's shaking over that. I'm not losing sleep though. Look, Green and I aren't best pals, but nobody will touch him with our protection, and none of us sent it to him, or else I would know about it. Anything else? He asked. Yes. There's a new. Yeah, that one. Yeah? Or Redstone Stable, or that one. Pick one.
Bootlegging scheme.
Okay. So you're giving Green the dough? I asked. That's right, he said. We gave him the cash to get the supply going. You already gave him the money? Aren't you afraid he's going to run out on you? I asked. Tiny Paul frowned. I suppose you know less than I thought. Well, just to set you straight, that kid's right under my thumb. No way he'd get out of town alive before setting up our source.
That's what you think, pal.
Yeah. He turned his gaze back onto the pool table. Anything else? Yes. We have statements.
Redstone
Stable. Know anything about Redstone Stable? I asked. Heard the name, he replied. But why all the gossip? He could tell you more about himself. You won't give me anything on him? Now, why would I do that? He shook his head and asked. Anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask about the threatening letter again. Just keep asking him the same things until he goes mad. Yeah. Mrs. Green.
The vortex opens in his forehead.
Yeah. Ask him.
Let me go in here.
What about that? The black hand letter is fake? That I'm not going to
Didn't you
help.
just tell us that?
No, that was the bloke before.
Okay, yeah, ask that.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to...
Yeah. Just try.
You know Green's note is a fake, I said. So somebody's goofing Green. He laughed heartily. Ho, ho. Or maybe Green's just toying with you. He blew chalk off the end of his pool cue and asked anything else. I think might be flogging a dead horse now. We got a bit out of him, didn't we? What's the statements? Singer at the Tin Spoon, following her husband. Maybe following her husband?
Yeah, maybe.
What's that got
No,
to do with
no,
any of
nothing
this?
to do with it.
Try to press him further, okay. Alright, anything else?
I think we've squeezed him dry.
I think so. Empty bottles? That wouldn't do anything, would it? No. No, because he knows he's doing a... Notebook? Nothing. No, it's not a notebook at home, is it? No, it's... Okay. Well, we should go back and see Green, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
That's what we should
Can
do.
we?
I think so, can't we? He's our client. Graham wants me to do a review.
What?
That thing.
Oh.
Yeah, film me. I haven't got much space though.
Okay. So your friend Graham wants you to.
Yeah, do a review. Yeah.
Have I got a... Right, okay, it's going.
You go.
No.
Here we got the T-Priv Smoke 3. Let's just test it out. That's blowing some vape, man. Get it.
I missed the end. Oh,
I do.
I missed the thumbs up. That was really good.
Right, okay, so where are we going? What are we doing?
Back. We're going to try and talk to Green.
That's right. I didn't have anything else to say to him, so he cracked his knuckles, arched over the table, and resumed lining up shots. So let's leave, shall we? Where's the leave there? Leave. Green's house.
That's where his wife is.
Oh, yeah. Have we not... So is that client Green?
Yeah, Green.
He's missing.
Not at his house.
Is he... I mean, we spoke to him, haven't we, or not?
We spoke to him at the beginning when he showed us the letter at our flat.
Right.
When we went to his place, his wife was in her opium days and was really unhelpful.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Maybe we'll go back there and see if he's there.
Yeah, we can try it, I suppose.
Unless you think maybe one of these three again?
We've just been
To all them, but yeah, so back to Green's house then. Go here?
Yeah.
I might be getting sick of talking to the taxi drivers. I flagged a taxi
You
cab.
never know when they might...
Yeah.
It might be just when you get too sick of it to talk to them that one of them will tell you something.
You know, so my bet is that the Seals could play in the majors. His voice had a high pitch and was just nasally enough to be irritating.
Keep listening just in case.
Between Shiagiri and McQueenie, we've got enough guys who know how to hurl the ball, and our middle order of Wayner, Walsh and Montague's unstoppable. Sure, we need better fielding, but there's no reason we can't snag a glove from out east. Hell, we can pay better than half those teams anyhow. Of course, those owners say their teams would mop the floor with us, but they're just scared of a competitive coast. Only want the profits to stay with their own cronies. Keep listening. But imagine their faces when we beat them in their own parks. What I'd give to see something like that. And, you know, Art Griggs is rumoured to be coming from the Angels. I just think it's unfair that we'd do this league. Let them play with the big boys, I say. Between Shea, Geary and McQueenie, we've got enough guys who know how to hold the ball. Blah, 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 blah. He kept talking in circles about the seals, and I listened politely. My eyes were glazed over when he finally announced, "We're here." When I went to exit, the taxicab turned and said, "Hey, thanks for listening. You're all right." I nodded and stepped out. Okay. Read that, I think, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I knocked on the front door but didn't get a response. The latch was undone, so I pushed it open and stepped into the room. She's still on it, is she?
Mm-hmm.
She go lightly and she moaned again, said nothing more. There's nothing in here. Exit.
I don't know what else to do. Yeah.
Okay. Leave.
Okay.
Southern Stables Barbershop.
I guess so.
Or Southern Coffee.
We just came from there.
Yeah. It's going to have to be that one then. Go here. Yeah, I think it's going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not talk.
Okay. Yeah.
I had enough of them. Drive me mad, these taxi drivers. The barber shop was down an alley in the financial district opposite the red brick National Bank. The small bell above the door twinkled as I walked in.
It's like you, wherever you go.
Yeah.
Twinkling
Whenever I
bell.
walk through a door, it's really weird. Whenever I walk through a door, there's like a little twinkly sound. Like that.
It's the fairies behind you with the magic bells.
The bill fairies.
Celebrating you.
Yeah. Stable stood in the centre of the room, smiling my direction. Well, Miss Maloney smiled. Will there be anything else? Ask about notes. Yes, we believe that he is like. I remember something about him. Stable.
Yeah, he's like
Stable's not
big. Tiny Paul. What's that? Gave Green.
Didn't send the letter.
Yeah, just try something.
Tiny Paul claims that the ferry gang didn't send Green the letter, nor does he care who did.
Ask about that then. Do it.
I thought there was something else. Okay.
No, just do it.
I don't know if this is relevant to anything I have said. Okay. Okay. Nothing there. Not if there's any letter. Has a new bootlegging scheme. Suspects Redstone Stable.
I think we already asked, but try it.
Yeah, we did. That was ages ago, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Tin Spoon's correct password.
Name.
Claims he doesn't.
Got others. Ask the Tiny Paul stuff because.
Yeah. Tony Paul gave Green cash. Tony Paul didn't send the letter.
Yeah. No, we just asked
No,
that.
we just asked
that.
Black Hand letter is fake.
Yeah, try it.
Yes, because he was the one, wasn't he? The one who gave us the letter in the first place.
Maybe.
Shipman tells me Green's letter is a forgery, I said to Steeble. He grinned wide. Yes, Miss Malone, that I told you. But I'm curious whether Mr. Green himself knows it. Stable still would admit no knowledge of the note. Well, Miss Maloney smiled. Will there be anything else? Yes, there will.
Bet your sweet ass there will be.
Yeah, exactly. Tiny Paul didn't send the letter.
We just asked that.
Did we?
Yeah, like 10 minutes ago.
So, okay. What else?
Got others watching green.
Got others watching
In
green.
the middle. Down there, in the middle. Tiny Paul. Down. Down.
Tiny Paul.
Middle, that.
That one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should we come back to it another time?
Yeah.
You're getting bored, aren't
I
you?
don't know what else to do.
No. Evidence. Tickets to St. Louis?
Wouldn't that get him in trouble?
Well, this is just, I don't know, is this a gangster or is this just...
Yeah, he's like a major bootlegger, I think.
Alright. Well, should we try it?
We can try it.
Discover Green's past. Investigate Green's bootlegging. Okay. We've done all of Tiny Paul, haven't we? Yeah. Claims he doesn't bootleg. But we know he bootlegs, don't we?
Yeah, but he's not open about it, I don't think.
There we go. I nodded to his furniture, elegant trappings for a barber. Math was never my strong subject, but I can't see a barber making enough for all of this. He smiled. Yes, I have other methods of procuring wealth, but I do not engage in illicit activities, if that is your implication. Well, Miss Malone, he smiled. Will there be anything else? It does not engage in illicit... That's evidence we've got there. Have we got evidence to... Haven't we got a statement that says that he does? Not on that one. Okay, we leave it there, shall we?
Yeah, I think that it's Hitchcock time.
Yes.
Hitchcock time.
Okay, well, see you later.
Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, that's how do we exit from this?
You have to go back to OBS. Oh, yeah.
No, let's shut this down. Escape. Save and exit. Stop. Stop recording.